Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas. Up next, we have some great racing in store with the SKF Pre-66 Sports and GTs, ISP, Trans Am, Classic Thoroughbreds and the Pre-84 Sports and GTs.
Last race, Fred's 2 points ahead of me. It's going to be a very tight race. Whoever wins will take the championship. We'll see, I'm right behind him. He pipped me on for pole. And look forward to a good but fair race.
It's come down to the last race of the season for the championship. And there's only 2 points between George and myself, so it's pretty close, yes. This track is very challenging in terms of concentration and that sort of thing. So I think I just have to basically make sure I don't go off like I did in qualifying. And yeah, I am a little bit quicker than George, so hopefully we can pull it off, but we'll do our best.
Helmets on, seatbelts tightened, let the battle begin. Heading up the grid is Dino SCHMIDT in his Tiga. Alongside him is the Chevron B19 of Peter Jenkins. Championship rivals Fred Koenig and George AVVAKOUMIDES line up in 8th and 9th. Mike Schmidt makes a welcome return in his Capri in 10th. A rolling start for this category. The lights go out and the field power their way under the bridge over the start line. Jenkins alongside SCHMIDT, but the Tiga gets the power down and keeps the lead into turn 1. The field jostling for position. George AVVAKOUMIDES behind the Daytona Coupe of Jonathan du Toit. Up his inside comes Fred Koenig. Koenig moves ahead towards turn 2. AVVAKOUMIDES dives down the inside and fights back and gets ahead of Koenig. Mike Schmidt in the Capri tries unsuccessfully to follow him through. Down the inside straight and Schmidt is rapidly closing in on AVVAKOUMIDES. Into turn 6 and Schmidt moves ahead and sets off after du Toit. Side by side, the Daytona and the Capri race to turn 1. The Daytona on the outside loses out to the Capri with the inside line advantage and Schmidt moves ahead. Fred Koenig has closed up on George AVVAKOUMIDES and takes the inside line through turn 2 and moves ahead of the Ocean Basket Porsche. Pushing hard towards turn 3 and the Northern Bolton Tool Porsche of Koenig loses the back slightly, but he manages to keep it together and stay ahead of his rival. On the short straight to turn 4, AVVAKOUMIDES fights back and moves alongside Koenig. Powering down through the corner, and AVVAKOUMIDES regains his position ahead of Koenig, and the battle continues. Further back, Barry Nell is chasing down Dennis McBeath, and it's Kobus BRITS who peels off into the pits with problems. Oliver DeLay and Mike Schmidt have found each other and are running side by side into turn 4. DeLay may have the inside line, but into turn 5 that switches over to Schmidt, and he keeps the power down and moves ahead of the GT40. Barry Nell is still chasing the MPT Sports of McBeath in his Datsun, and the Tiga of race leader Dino SCHMIDT comes flying past and laps him and continues on to lap McBeath. Fred Koenig is doing everything he can to try and find a way past his championship rival. Braving the dirty outside line, Koenig puts the power down. This doesn't work out too well for him though, as he goes off the track and does a bit of farming before rejoining the track, quite a distance behind AVVAKOUMIDES. Philip Pontazis in his Datsun passes Colin Green through turn 11. He's being caught by Mike Schmidt, who's gradually working his way through the field from 10th on the grid. Down the long straight, and Schmidt pulls out alongside the Datsun, gets the power down and flies past. Fred Koenig has managed to close back up on George AVVAKOUMIDES, and this time he has a look down the inside. Same result though, he runs wide and loses ground. Koenig regains his composure, puts the pedal to the metal, and powers round the outside of AVVAKOUMIDES. Koenig edges ahead, and both Porsches run wide and go farming. AVVAKOUMIDES recovers ahead of Koenig. Coming around the final corner to cross the line and take the checkered flag, it's Dino SCHMIDT in the Tiga. Koenig is running slightly ahead of AVVAKOUMIDES, but as they exit the corner, he runs wide and goes farming again. This allows AVVAKOUMIDES to pull away and gain that vital advantage. Coming through turn 12 and 13, Oliver DeLay in his GT40 is ahead of Philip Pontazis in his Datsun. Mike Schmidt crossing the line just 3 seconds ahead of the pair. After all his adventures, Fred Koenig hasn't given up, and he's right back on terms with AVVAKOUMIDES as the pair race for the line. AVVAKOUMIDES keeps the power down and edges slightly ahead of Koenig as they make their way onto the start-finish straight. AVVAKOUMIDES edges Koenig out by 0.7 of a second. What a fantastic race! Dino SCHMIDT taking victory in the Tiga. Peter Jenkins coming home in 2nd place. Oliver DeLay and Philip Pontazis having a great race, separated by just 1.5 seconds at the line.
I personally had some issues yesterday. I started with a really old set of tyres, a pair of tyres, 4 tyres, Unfortunately we canvassed them really badly, so qualifying was bad. Put a new set of tyres on and the car was amazing. The track is difficult though, it's very technical.
Well, the old GT is quite a dog. I mean, it's quite a thing to throw around the track with all the corners. So it was a lot of work. And yeah, I think I'm getting faster, so we'll see the next race.
Yeah, I started ahead, and my plan was to pull as far ahead as possible, just try and keep the gap. Unfortunately, I ran out of brakes about lap 5 or 6. So Mike and Ollie came up behind, and I said, you know what, let me just bring the car to the end and just wave them past. So yeah, race 2, looking forward to it. I'll leave the brakes, put some ducting on. Hopefully, brakes will last the distance this time. I'll go and catch these guys.
The lights go out, and race 2 of the SKF Pre-66 Sports and GTs, ISPs, Classic Thoroughbreds, Trans Am and Pre-84 Sports and GTs is underway. Peter Jenkins, who finished second in the first race, not taking to the start, deciding to save himself and the car for the Endurance race. Dino SCHMIDT in the Tiga leads Mark du Toit in the Lola T70 Spider into turn 2. Philip Bontasis in the Datsun runs side by side with Jonathan du Toit in the Daytona Coupe. Through turn 3 they go, and onto turn 4. Both drivers pushing as hard as they can in the early stages of this race. Into turn 4, and Bontasis edges ahead. Further back in the field, and Colin Green in his orange Mazda passes Barry Nell in his Datsun. Coming down the back straight, powering their way down to turn 12, Dennis McBeath passes the Rothmans Porsche of Fritz Kleinans. Chad Tenduskata in his VPW Spider has a look, but can't quite find a way past yet. Round turn 13, and onto the start-finish straight they go. Tenduskata puts the power down, moves out and alongside the Porsche. Over the line they go, another lap completed, and Tenduskata's edging ahead of Kleinans as they come into turn 1. Barry Nell has tried to come back at fellow Classic Thoroughbred competitor Colin Green as they race towards turn 6. He's moved alongside him, and he has the inside line through the corner and makes it work for him as he gains the position. On the start-finish straight, Fred Koenig has the Porsche 917 of Peter Bailey bearing down on him. Under the bridge, and Bailey has moved ahead of Koenig and will now have AVVAKOUMIDES in his sights. Mark du Toit leads Mike Schmidt, Oliver DeLay and Philip Bontasis through turn 8 and 9 as the battle from race 1 between those 3 resumes. AVVAKOUMIDES is doing everything he can to hold Fred Koenig at bay and clinch the 2015 Pre-84 Sports and GT title. Koenig is not going to make it an easy job for him though, and he's keeping the pressure on as they make their way around the twisty Red Star Raceway. Heading towards turn 4, and Barry Nell is lapped by Mark du Toit. Colin Green slots in behind him. Mike Schmidt will soon be looking for a way past, as will Oliver DeLay in the GT40. Coming to the end of the long back straight, and Fred Koenig has lined up AVVAKOUMIDES. Koenig passes down the inside of turn 12 and now leads his championship rival through turn 13 and onto the start-finish straight. Barry Nell watching Colin Green come past him on the right. These two having a great battle, constantly swapping positions. Jonathan du Toit slaloms his way past them. Fritz Kleinans pulls over and retires his Porsche. Coming into turn 4, and Mark du Toit is lapping the Porsche 924 of Willem Brits. Mike Schmidt pushing hard behind him with Oliver DeLay in hot pursuit. Race leader Dino SCHMIDT looks like a rocket car as smoke streams out of the back of the Tiga as he makes his way down the long back straight. This will most surely spell retirement for SCHMIDT so close to the end. AVVAKOUMIDES passes the limping Tiga as he makes his way around turn 2. Peter Bailey in the Porsche 917 behind him. Chad Tenduskata in the VPW Spider has a bit of a moment through turn 12 and 13, possibly on some oil that the Tiga dropped. It looks like Mark du Toit has also found the oil, and he is recovering from a spin. This allows Mike Schmidt to pass him on the way to the flag. Du Toit gets going again and heads over the line in second place behind Schmidt, DeLay having to settle for third. AVVAKOUMIDES and Fred Koenig are taking their championship battle right down to the line. Fred Koenig will cross the line first, and this will give him the championship. It's been a hotly contested battle and provided us with some fantastic racing. With the Tiga retiring in spectacular style and spilling oil on the track, the result was taken back a lap, and this gave SCHMIDT the win, with Schmidt coming home in second and du Toit in third. Fred Koenig still finished ahead of AVVAKOUMIDES. Let's hear from George and Fred.
For me, the first race went reasonably okay. I managed to beat Fred, but he was by far quicker on the day. Second race didn't go so well. there were some interferences, but all in all, I think Fred was the better driver on the day, and I think he's won the championship. Congratulations to him. I think he did very well.
Thanks very much, George. You know what, George? You didn't make it easy for me. I might just say that first up. But you've been a very, very fierce and competitive driver, and I really enjoyed driving against you. I was a little bit lucky today. I won the second heat. So, yeah, hopefully the championship as well. It hasn't been finalized. But I'd just like to thank the guys from GT1. Super prepped my car. They really did. Great guys, looked after me so well. And my family who came to support me. Thanks, guys.
I need to thank my sponsors, Ocean Basket, Liquid Molly. They've been wonderful. They've been supported. My family, my brother, Richard, who's always with me, the whole team, Vickers, who prepares the car so well. It's been a great year. Congratulations again to Fred.
Yeah, I was having a nice race. I was out in second, and then I didn't see what happened to Dino, but on the last lap came down the back straight, turned in, and the back of the car just stepped out. I had a half spin. I recovered to find I was in second, and then Oliver passed me and I landed in third.
I was catching up with Mike and got caught up with the traffic. And on the last lap, I was pushing it, and I also nearly left the track with the oil. I was diving and fishing, and then got onto the last bit of it and overtook Mark. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was a great race. I said to you before, it's a real technical track. And we just kept pushing and pushing. Lap times were consistently quick. And unfortunately on that last lap, or unfortunately for Mark, we came down the straight and we found some oil on the final turn. And fortunately for me, Mark was in front of me because he showed me the way. A little half spin, I managed to get into the dry stuff and get by him, yeah.
Quick question, how did the Ford Mustang get its name? Find out after the break.
Join us after the break for some exciting action from the Seibad Lotus Challenge.